Okay. All right. So I'm going to continue. Hopefully everybody can hear me, and we'll just try to move along. So the two topics that we're going to kind of cover today are customizing the messages that are returned from SAP into the log field within Studio, and additionally, we are going to cover the renew SAP session after N runs, where N is the number of rows basically that you're going to run, and it's going to basically log you out of SAP and back in after that many runs. The purpose for this is just to kind of get everybody familiar with these features within the Studio product, and additionally to just show you the different scenarios where you would want to use these particular features. Okay. So starting out, custom log messages. So sometimes you're going to get an error back from SAP or some sort of message back from SAP, and it's not going to be very helpful. You know, most Winshuttle users are very familiar with the no batch input data message that basically tells you Winshuttle encountered a screen and it doesn't know what to do with it because it wasn't encountered during your recording. And it doesn't really tell you what failed or how it failed. So then you have to go use the debug mode to go and figure out what failed. Now there are certain times where you might get a message like that or some other message from SAP, and you know the message isn't helpful, but you know why it failed, right? You've used the script enough times, you've had enough users running the script where you can tell what happened and why, right? So what we can do in those situations where you know what the error is, or at least what's causing the error, we can go in and customize the log message to a excuse me, to an error message or a message coming back from SAP that makes sense. You know, another example, and it's the example that we'll look at today, is when the material master in SAP tells you that no changes were made. Well, I don't know that, I might not know the reason. If I'm not a super savvy SAP user, I might think that data should have been updated, and maybe I had the same data that was already in SAP, so it tells me that no changes were made, and that's not really clear. Maybe we want to kind of customize that message to show a more descriptive message that can just give us a little bit more information so we can feel confident and understand why things are happening in SAP the way that they are. So in order to do this, it is a two-step process. So the first thing you would do is you go into the Map tab, and you would go into the properties of the script. And as you can see in the upper screenshot here, we're going to check the box for that +EM, the technical log information. Then we're going to go and we're going to run the script again, and that is going to bring back a little bit of a different look in the log field. It's going to provide a little bit more information with the message number and things like that. And we'll show how to use that. And then from there, we're going to go back into the Map tab, click that Launch dialog box that you see highlighted, and that's going to open up the window below. So where you see message ID and message number, that's what we're going to do. We're going to take the information we got from the log field, put it in there, and then provide our new message text. And we'll click OK. And then that's going to give us that customized message. So the next time that we run the Winshuttle script and we encounter that same error, we're going to get the transformed message instead of the message that wasn't very clear or very helpful. Okay, so I'm going to jump out of the PowerPoint right now, and I am going to hop over to Studio. So what I have right here is just a very simple material master script, and basically what it's going to do is go into the SAP material master and navigate to the classification and just update one of the characteristics within that classification. So basically I'm just going in and updating one field. Okay, so I have 3 rows of data, and right now, just as an example, I'm just going to run a test. Okay, I'm going to run this into our system, and this field here called color strength. So we get here, but this field here called color strength, that already has a value of 10 in there, so we should see that no changes made from back here in the log message here. Bear with me one sec while I just log back in to our sandbox environment. Okay, looks like something has changed within the last 20 minutes, so bear with me here. I'm just going to have to jump out to our environment and make a quick change to that server. Okay. And back to Studio. So right now, the Winshuttle script is running, and as you can see, we're getting the message back that no changes were made. And as I mentioned before, that's not a very clear message. Like, I may have expected that SAP would go in and update the value to 10 because maybe I didn't know the value was 10, right? So maybe we want to come in and change this message to be a little bit more clear, because as an experienced SAP user, I know that when it says no changes made, it's saying that because the data I've provided is not different than the data that's existing, but maybe my users don't fully understand that. So the first thing we're going to do is go to the Map tab, right? And we need to be in the Properties section here of our script. Now, please understand that if you haven't seen this already, the Properties pane here, the Properties window, is contextual. So if I am clicked on, a row header or a screen header, I get a different set of options versus if I'm on a field, I get a different set of options. But what we want to do is be on the overall script properties. So in the newer version of Studio, there's a button up here that says script properties. I don't have that yet, so if you just toggle between the two tabs here, it'll bring you back to the script properties. And what we want to do is click this checkbox right here for technical log information. Okay. Once we have that checked, we just give the script a quick save. We can jump back to the run screen, and we're just going to do another test. And the reason why we're going to do that is so that we can get back that technical information that we want to see with the ID, the message ID number, and the message number itself, so that we can transform that particular message. So as you see, when it comes back, we have the ID of M3 and the message number of 810. Okay. So then we're going to go back to our Map tab. We are going to click the Launch dialog box, okay, and we're going to click Add. So now the message ID, and I'm just going to quickly hit cancel here because I want to make my data set a little bit bigger so we can see the message here. Okay, so when I click that Launch dialog box, click Add, and then the first thing I want to put in here is the message ID, and that's going to be the first thing you see after the S colon. Okay, so in this case it's M3. So in here I'm going to type M3, whoops, and then I need the message number, which is right after the dash, and it's 810. Okay, so I put 810 here. And then in this box, this is where I put my new text for my message. So I could say, well, changes were made due to data being the same as current SAP data. So it's a little bit more clear, and you can make that anything you want. and then I just click OK, and now I have that in there. So if I were to click that launch dialog box again, I can see that that's one that I have in there. You can continue to add or delete them as needed. So we have that in there. Just give the script a quick save. Then we'll jump over to the Run tab. And now I'm just going to clear out my log column, and we'll give it another test. And when it runs, we'll see that transform message. We'll get the full message instead of just the simple no changes made. So you can see that full message. Now the other thing too is, and I forgot to do this, once you have that changed, you can uncheck this box right here, and then the transform message will show up, but you won't have the technical information anymore. So we can turn that off. That's what I should have done. And as you can see, I'll run it again, and that will go away. You'll just see that no changes were made due to the data being the same as current SAP data, that message that we provided. So that is customizing the log messages in SAP. So the next topic that we'll cover is renewing your SAP session. So, that's also found in the properties, as you can see here. It's this renew session after N runs, and you can change that number to whatever you want. But some of the reasons why you might want to do that is there are certain transactions where SAP doesn't behave the same way after the first transaction. So you might have 50 records in your Excel spreadsheet that you're trying to run in, and after the first one, the remaining 49 don't encounter a screen, or now they start to encounter a screen that they didn't encounter the first time. By using this feature, it kind of gets you out of the need to use an if condition, which can sometimes be a little bit more complex. The one drawback to this is what's actually happening here is you're being logged out of SAP and logged back in for each record in your Excel file that you're running. Now, if you don't have a huge list or a huge file to run, you're probably not going to notice a tremendous difference in performance. But if you have a few thousand records, you might want to actually put the time in to develop the if condition. So this is kind of something you'd use if you just have, a couple hundred, maybe less than 100, something like that to run in, and you can use this. It's a little bit more simple than putting an if condition into your script. The example that I'm going to use today is that same script we just saw. It's the going into the material master and making a change to the classification. When I go into the material master and make a change to the classification, the first time I go in, I get a pop-up box that asks me what class type I want to use. Every time I go in after that, I don't get that pop-up. So when I recorded my script, I got that pop-up, and every time after, I'm not going to get it. So Winshuttle is expecting to see that pop-up, and then when it doesn't, it fails, right? So every record after that would fail. So I'm going to jump back out, and we're going to demo that in the Studio application. So I'm going to open my Renew Session demo. And I'm going to clear my data. Okay, so what I'll show you right now is in the Map tab, I'm going to show you that I have the Renew SAP Sessions or transactions, Renew Session after End transactions. I have it set to 0, and that's what the default is, right? So it's just going to run the first one and the second one, the third one, and just keep me logged into SAP during the entire time. And what we're going to see when I run this as a test right now is that the first one should say no changes made, and then the next two will fail because it's expecting to see that pop-up, and it's not going to because it doesn't come up after the first transaction. So you can see that, it's telling me, hey, there's no batch input because I hit that screen that I was I hit a screen I wasn't expecting. I was expecting a pop-up and I got something else, so it failed. So what we can do then is just, as I mentioned, come back in here into the script properties menu, and in the renew session after end transactions, just change that to a 1. So every time it runs a record, it's going to change. It's going to log you out of SAP and log you back in. So we can give that a save. And we come in, and I could even do like 9, 8. So that's what actually does a change. We'll clear this out. And we'll test it. So you can see that it is running a little bit slower than it did previously. But again, if it's only a handful of records, something that's not a huge data file, what you'll notice is that it's not that big of a difference. And right now it's just taking a minute to get going. But once it gets going, it actually goes relatively quickly. And there you go. So that's one good, useful way to kind of get away from having to do an if condition, because in the past what we had to do was put an if condition around that pop-up box within the mapper, and then use the if on first transaction or if not first transaction, depending on how your particular T code is behaving, right? So that's how you do that in the new Studio 11. I will jump back into the presentation. I do have a little bit of information on how to do it if you're running version 10, right? So it's not as easy to do this in version 10. You have to go into the editor of the script, basically like the text file of the script that has all the code in it, and make some changes in there. Now, I strongly encourage you to not do that if you're not comfortable doing that, because if you happen to delete anything out of here, or happen to type a letter somewhere where you didn't mean to, you can cause your script to not work. So if you do want to go in here and mess with this with a script that you have, make a copy of the script and then do it on the copy, obviously. But there are also very easy to follow how-to documents out on support.winshuttle.com. And let me just jump out again. I have those up. So here's the one for editing the log messages. Okay, it's a nice, easy how-to, screenshots and everything that can walk you through exactly how to do that in version 10. And additionally, for the renew session, if you wanted to use that, it just kind of walks you through how to use that. Right. So within version 7 or version 10.7 or 10.x, depending on what you're using, basically what we would need to do is we go to edit. Actually, we have to go to update mapping, and then we would go to edit, and then right here, this editor, right, will open up that WordPad, and that's where we do that, right? So if we're going to try to customize a log message, we come right here where it says plus RS1. We just hit enter, and then you put in your, you just follow the instructions. You put in that EM plus EM, and then you'd run your script. You'd save that, run your script. It's going to give you the log that you need, and then you can come back in here, open this up again, and then put your message in how you want it. Now, if we're doing the renew session, we would come all the way down to the bottom and then just follow the instructions. And basically what it tells you to do is just put end session : and then the number that you see here right now is a 1. So that's going to renew the session after every record. You could put a different number in there if you needed to, if you wanted to end it after 5 records for whatever reason. But that number is right there is what tells it how many sessions or how many records to run before it renews the session. And again, just jumping back to our presentation real quick, when you go out onto support.winshuttle.com to find those articles, if these are good search terms, if you type in editing log message for the log message one, that'll be the first result you get. And then similarly on the renew session, if you type in end session, just like it is here with no space, it'll be the first result that you get. So that'll help you with your searching out there, because if you just you type in log message, you'll get 100 results, and this will be like number 50, and it's frustrating. So just thought I'd help you out if you wanted to go find those articles for those of you that need that. Okay. All right, so that is really all I had on those features. Hopefully that was helpful, and if there are any questions, I'll open it up now. So if anybody wants to type in a question in the chat, I'll try to answer it. So the question is, does the custom log message convert into the XML for workflows for use in like a composer solution? And the answer is yes, it does. Yep, absolutely. It will return the same message. That becomes part of the script, and as you convert it to XML, that's part of the conversion. So yep, it will absolutely work. Any other questions? Okay. All right. Well, that kind of wraps it up for me. Just a few things, some upcoming events. The next Winshuttle WEBtips will be next month, August 16th, same time. The topic's going to be validation tools, so working with required fields, lists, transforms, validate, simulate within Studio. Okay, so you get a couple studios back to back. There's a Northeast Ohio Data Analytics user group happening on August 22nd from 4 to 6:30 p.m. Burntwood Tavern in Brecksville, Ohio. So, that's coming up. And then our next Ohio Winshuttle user group is going to be scheduled for sometime late September or early mid-October. Still working the details out there, but just kind of keep checking back on our events page to check for updates and things like that for those events coming up. As always, we have the Clear Process Solutions Solution Care for anybody that may need that. And basically what that is the ability to go purchase a block of hours to be used really any way that you would need it when it comes to Winshuttle support. So, or even Process BI support as well. So it can be used, for coaching. We can coach you on some things, teach you how to do some things, training, that kind of thing. It can be used for support if you have issues with a script or issues with form and workflow. We can help with that. Or it can even be used for development. If you have a couple scripts you need to have development on, we can put those scripts together for you and get them out there for you. So, it's a really great tool. So go to clearprocesssolutions.com, check it out for more information. And that really does it for me. So there's the website, phone number. If anybody has any questions, you can call in, send us an email. But I hope everybody got a little bit out of that. Really, again, apologize for the technical details up front. Hopefully that we can get that cleared up so it doesn't happen anymore. But thank you, everybody, for your time. I really appreciate it. And everybody have a great day.